All right, we're back, Patriots. How's it going? Barney Ewell, famous athlete from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Down in my hometown here. Oh, twice in one day, that bike. Alright, there we go. God bless you for looking after me here. We're in downtown Lancaster, Pennsylvania. This is a big project they just did here in Lancaster. This area was not looking good for a long time. It was a movie theater. They built this big 70s looking concrete building. I think that's part of it left over there, but the whole thing looked like that in here. And they just fixed it up really nice. Still leasing office space over there. No, you're not a nag that by. I think I need people to look after me here. So we're just gonna go down to the center of town here, check things out, checking out the network. See how it goes here. See you, Barney. Barney Ewell was an Olympian from Lancaster here. Went to the local high school. I can't remember if he won a gold medal or not. Probably says so on that sign, but he was a good guy, good role model for people around here to look up to. Hey, Elaine Miller, Beer and Back Roads, how you doing, man? Ohio Navy Mom. All right, we're in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. That the town is kind of decorated for the holidays, for Christmas. Merry Christmas. Of course, you got to have a Starbucks. You know what that means, right? I think we went over that the other day. See if we can get some nice shots around here. Hey, silly. Well, you got me with that chemtrail joke. That was hilarious. We got all these cool old buildings around here, these churches. They did a lot of restorations. There's beautiful stuff around here. I haven't been down here in a while. Yeah, Pennsylvania's got a lot of pretty stuff, man. A lot of nice old towns. Just love the old buildings that they keep fixed up and stuff. And the big tall building right there, that's called the Christ Building. That was the tallest building forever here until they just built a big new hotel. But it's a pretty cool looking hotel. I like the purple tree there, it's nice. Once we get up here, we'll do some J6 news and updates. Last night was the 500th vigil at Freedom Corner, which I think is a spectacular milestone. The Patriots are just incredible. Kept it going every night in a row. Didn't skip a night. Working into their second winter there. It ain't easy, but they're doing it. Oh, Beer Backroads, you lived in Philly. Yeah. We had a while. I lived in Philly for a while. Very cool, man. Back in my clubbing days. You could stay out till 4 in the morning there if you planned everything out right. Thank God I don't do that anymore though. But man, was it fun. Major fun. Oh, Fishtown, yeah. Manayunk. Wasn't the Manayunk down there too? We'd go down there. Manayunk, man, they built that waterfront up really nice, didn't they? I was down at 22nd and Chestnut Street. I think it was near Rittenhouse Square. And it was so nice, man. You just park the car and leave it there all week until you're ready to go out for the weekend. And that's what we did. We had a condo here in Lancaster, and then we had an apartment in Philly. So we had the best of both worlds there. But man, I'll tell you what, parking that car somewhere was $250 a month. And the parking authority there was like Nazis, man. They would come after you. You didn't pay your ticket 15 days, it would double. And then it would go into like arrest warrants, you know, like in 30 days it seemed like. And that's just the one thing about cities I don't dig, is the parking is insane and expensive. They really get after you, man. So that this building here is the old Central Market, man. Very, very cool market that they have every week still. Nick's upstairs. Was that down on South Street? Nick's upstairs. Man, it sounds familiar. Plenty of bars to choose from. Here's the town Christmas tree. I think it's a 25-year-old spruce from Elmer Glick's backyard. And then this right here is a war memorial. It's been here for a long, long time, man. Very cool, I think. This is the main square in Lancaster, King Street and Queen Street, going all the way back to the Kings. Alright, so this building is pretty cool. This is the old Watt and Shand department store. And this part here, like all this lower level right here, that was there. And Watt and Shand's went out of business back in probably Bill Clinton's era. He put them out of business. And then they built this whole high-rise part on top of it, but left the facade intact, which I thought was very cool that they did that, you know, instead of just tearing it down and putting a big monolith concrete building up. They made them keep the facade. And then of course this building over here, that building went in recently. And now I think those are the two tallest buildings in Lancaster. But man, it's a really cool view from up there. Yeah, Sylvia, do you remember Watt and Shand? They were kind of like a Macy's store, kind of upscale. So I think they're doing a good job in Lancaster overall of improving the city, at the same time keeping the historical architecture around that we all love, and doing a good job of blending in the new with the old, you know. We got these old buildings, the windows, the multi-pane windows. Yeah, they do, Elaine. They got style. Right. So this is the War Memorial. I see they got a Persian Gulf plaque, a Vietnam plaque, World War I plaque. And I believe there's 4 statues around this. And each one represents a division of the military. And I think that's Lady Liberty up there or something. Got to get a chemtrail in shot. I think it's Lady Liberty. Just the details of the old windows is like so much detail involved. Shutters. Windows. Brickwork. And it lasts a long time. Dig, Sylvia. The Lancaster Soldier and Sailor's Monument features a 43-foot tall road island rectangular granite pillar, topped with a statue of a robed woman on a pedestal known as Genius Liberty. You never cease to amaze me, Sylvia. Nice dig. Beautiful dig. That's what we're all about here, Patriots. And just a little side note, this little fountain over there, that ugly green thing. Don't know why they put that here, but they did. You know, it doesn't all mesh perfectly around here. What is that? That's been here since the 70s too. It isn't like they built it and then said, whoa, that thing's ugly. So what we used to do is come out with a bottle of soap and dump it in that fountain there. And then in an hour or two, it'd be suds like just dripping all over the sidewalk and stuff, like a big foam blob oozing out of the fountain there. The Genius Liberty holds a drawn sword and a shield. Her head is crowned with stars. She faces north and turns her back on the former Confederate stakes. Ooh. Ooh. A little bit of vengeance with the Genius of Liberty here. Let's get a zoom around the face. There she is. Got my back to you, Sal. Don't rise up. Oh, not that you would know, Sylvia, right?
Turn around, got your cousins.
Home site of Colonel William Henry, prominent patriot, master rifle maker, enterprising and successful experimenter. Steam navigation. So this is where Robert Fulton was born too. He invented the steam paddle wheel or something. So there's a lot of history here. And inside these doors, this building's got slate roof. They just had to redo the roof and it was a fortune. Thanks for teaching me all this, Sylvia. Statues of 4 men representing the 4 branches of the American Armed Services by the men are the Navy, Army, Artillery, and Cavalry. Alright, so I got it pretty much right. It's not Lady Liberty, it's the Genius Liberty. And we didn't have Marines and Space Force back then, so it's the Navy, Army, Artillery, and Cavalry. Rifle maker, what does that make him today? All right, so last night at Freedom Corner, we did have a lot of cool phone calls and stuff and really got into some nitty-gritty on the legal aspects of the J6 battles that are going on in that bogus court down in DC. And like I said, last night was vigil number 500, if my calculations are correct. The vigil started on August 1st, 2022. And then we had the 1-year anniversary, 2023, 365 days. And then from August 1st till yesterday, I believe, takes us to 500 days of a vigil in a row, right outside the Gulag in Washington, D.C., between a prison and a cemetery on a dead-end street. So, way to go, Freedom Corner warriors. Hats off to everybody who's ever stepped foot on that corner to stand in the face of these tyrants, man. Last night was Wednesday. Dwight opened it up with a prayer. First call in was Chris Quagland. What's up, Patriots? He says he was sounding in a good mood last night. And, you know, every once in a while, we never really see much of it, but there's 35 Patriots in that J6 pod down there, and they don't always get along. And there is, you know, anytime you get a group of men together like that, it can be hectic. So apparently there's a little bit of strife going on between them. It's nothing new, same as it always was. And we don't need to know a whole lot about it, other than to know that these guys are in it together. They are in it all for the same reason. And they don't let it eat them up and kill them. They don't turn on each other. They're still in there together. They're still a team fighting against the government. Unity, not division. And then the talk of the town was the Supreme Court, or the talk of the night was the Supreme Court agreeing to hear a case by Joseph Fisher on the legalities of the 1512 charge that all the J6ers are getting charged with, and that is a bastardization of why that law was ever written to be used against these guys. And we're hoping that the Supreme Court's going to listen to this case. They're going to throw out about 300 charges on 300 different J6ers that were slapped on there. That still leaves the J6ers to deal with the other inflated charges that they put on them, but maybe we'll take them down one at a time, because we know they are pretty much all bullshit. You're allowed to protest your government, especially in DC, especially. So there appears to be some confusion, and this was the internal strife in the Gulag as to whose case made it to the Supreme Court on the 1512 issue. And in order to get a case into the Supreme Court, there are many different angles that they can approach. Let's see if I can flip it around here. There's many different angles they can approach this from, and it just depends on whose case gets there. And we learned a lot of that with the Brunson Adams case from last January 6th. Was it sounded like the Supreme Court was going to hear it. That case was addressing whether or not the people that voted to certify the election were breaking their oath by not defending this country from a domestic enemy. And that domestic enemy would be the people that cheated the election, that caused all the fraud and all the deception and all the misinformation about what us voters need to know before we go in and vote. And we had 51 intelligence agents tell us that the Hunter Biden laptop was a Russian disinformation strategy. And as a voter, as a person that elects the people to run this country, that was a lie. It was an obvious lie by men and women who knew better, and 52 of them signed their name to a piece of paper that said, yeah, we're all lying to you. We're all going to tell you the same lie in order to influence the vote, okay? That was 3 months before the election, or it was very shortly before the election of 2020. So that alone influenced a lot of people. In addition to the machines flipping votes, all the hackable machines that are in all of our polling stations, there was many instances of those happening there. There was phony ballots. There were mysterious truckloads of ballots that were discovered in different spots. And we had a truck driver from the UPS service come forward saying he had a whole truckload of ballots from New York coming down into Pennsylvania. Now, why in the world would any votes be coming down from New York into Pennsylvania? And as a matter of fact, that guy drove that truck right here into Lancaster and dropped that trailer off, and that trailer disappeared. And then that guy, Jesse Morgan, he stepped forward with the Armistice Project and having an interview like right when it all happened. That all happened a month before, well, not a month before, but a good amount of time before the election. That was in October of 2022. And Jesse Morgan, they were calling him a liar. I think he lost his job. And then he has just recently been exonerated. And that was all internal United States Postal Office bullshit that was going on with that. He couldn't get the right paperwork for this trailer load that he had. And every other trailer he hauled had the right paperwork. So a lot of shenanigans went on in that. It wasn't just one thing that made that whole election go bad. At one point, one state was counting votes in the middle of the night. Well, first of all, they shut down the counting for whatever reason. And then one state, I forget which it was, all of a sudden they counted 236,000 votes, and every single one of them was for Joe Biden. That doesn't happen naturally, okay? We know there was fraud. There have been many court cases now. After the initial purge of court cases where the courts were all saying you have no standing to bring these court cases, there were 60 cases. The courts, in unison, in collusion, said you have no standing to bring any of these cases in any of these states forward about any fraud that was noticed and recorded. And since then now, 3 years later down the road, Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania, we have all agreed that there was shenanigans going on in that election. So that's where it stands right now. We're still digging to the bottom of that pit, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. That election was fraud, and we all know it now. So after Chris Quagland was done talking, Nicole got on the mic and said that if this 1512 case the Supreme Court's going to hear is flipped, that will affect 300 J6ers. That will affect 300 J6ers that have already been run through the courts. And by the way, they're still arresting J6ers. They're still arresting them, man. Yeah, toilet overflows in Georgia. They say a water main pipe broke, you know, and some guy just went up, stuffed the paper towels in the toilet. Shut down the election, shut down the counting. Ruby Freeman scanning ballots. So Ruby Freeman right now is suing Giuliani. They said he's guilty of slandering her, and he's already been declared guilty. They're just talking about how much money he owes Ruby and her daughter in, I forget what state, Georgia probably. I think that's where they're from. We got them on video doing it, and the courts are insistent, and just, these courts are crooked. They're crooked. We can all see what's going on, but then they bring a case into court and the judge is like ignorant of things that everybody knows. There's judges in doing J6 trials right now that think police officers died on J6 at the Capitol. They still believe that, man. They're in a whole different world, man. They're not in reality. Her case is dead, because I just read about it this morning, Denari. They're saying they're asking for $40 million out of Giuliani. So maybe that got killed today, but according to what I read, he was already charged guilty, and they were just hashing up how much he owed her. And of course, she's weeping and crying. Her life is horrible now. People threatened her. She can't wake up. She can't sleep. You know, I mean, that's what she's crying and playing it up. So anyways, we all see what's going on. But it takes a while to get rid of the delusional people and address reality and accommodate and fix the wrongs that have been done and get these guys out of jail that are sitting in there for up to 3 years now. Okay, next phone call was from Taylor Jonatakis. This guy's a ball of fire, man. He's in there. They're all reading up on law books, figuring out strategies on how to approach these cases. They've had all the prior J6 trials happen, so they see how the courts are reacting to different things. And Taylor was talking about the Supreme Court thing with the 1512 thing again. The Biden impeachment inquiry. They're voting yesterday to proceed with a Biden impeachment inquiry. All good stuff, man. And then he went into a legal argument about, do you know what a citizen is? And then he started getting into nuts and bolts, like Section 18 of U.S. Code Part 7 says a citizen is a vessel. And then a vessel is a corporation. And a corporation is a citizen. So in my vocabulary, that doesn't mean all that. You know, a vessel is a boat or a car. You know, a citizen is a human being who is a member of a country, of a government. And a corporation is not a person or a citizen, or it's not a vessel. It's not something you get in and go out on the water with. But this is what they do. They mince all these words up. They change the definitions of words right under our noses, just like they did to the term vaccine 3 years ago. Okay, man, this thing about Steve Baker is news to me, man. I mean, that guy was putting out J6 videos like 2 weeks ago, right? He's the guy that was getting the videos and stuff. So now all of a sudden they're going to arrest Steve Baker because he's putting out J6 videos, probably. Government retaliation and with a weaponized DOJ. Who doesn't see it anymore? Who doesn't see it anymore? So basically, Taylor was saying about how we are registered vessels of the Corporation of the United States of America. So I don't know how that works. But in legal mumbo jumbo, that's what's going on here, according to Taylor, man. And he's studying. He's got nothing else to do. He's in the gulag, man. This guy's studying his brains out and making amazing discoveries with the other guys in here, man. So these words are used against us, man. They changed the definition of words. They changed, a vaccine doesn't vaccinate you anymore. So now they're going to have to change the meaning of the word vaccinate. That's what they just keep doing. They keep rolling it and rolling it. until basically you don't know which way is up, man. I see them doing it. I know they've been doing it for a couple, 20 years, 30 years, since I've been paying attention. All right, then we started getting so many phone calls, I couldn't keep track of who was talking because they'd have a phone call with, oh man, there's a nice truck. Look at that old Ford. Thing's brand new. Wow. Love it. Love it. All right. I get distracted easy. So Taylor was talking about this kid whose last name is Cuba, I think. 18-year-old J6er, the youngest J6er that was busted on J6. And they gave him a maximum sentence because he grew up in a good family. He went to church, man. He had a good foundation. His parents stayed together. You know, they weren't broke. He had a charmed life, and they used that information to argue why they should give him a more steep sentence. That's the logic of these people in the in the courts down there in D.C., man. And the prosecutors, you know, they'll dig up information. It has nothing to do with the crime that you did, but then they're taking the argument, they're just making any argument they could think of to give you a harsher sentence. So I don't get it. How does that fit into our legal system here, you know? Does it matter if the kid was an orphan? Does it matter if the kid was a homeless guy? Does it matter if he was a millionaire? If they all did the same crime, they should do the same time. But that ain't how it works in D.C. The corruption is through the roof, and we know it. And we keep pointing it out, but it's one thing over here, one thing over here, one thing over there. It all adds up to corruption at the highest levels, at the most extreme level possible. And we cannot stand for this, America. This is what we need to stand up against. And one man can make a difference. And once one man stands, two men stands. And then 3 men, and then 50 people. And then people inside the beast that's doing all this tyranny to us start coming forward and talking about it. Because they don't like it either. They're stuck in these positions where they gotta just deal with this protocol of bullshit with these people. So yeah, man, they used this Cuba kid's upbringing to inflict a maximum sentence on him. Outrageous. And then Tammy got up and said something about that too. Man, Tammy has got a lot of insight into everything, J6, everything these guys are going through, because she's going through it herself. Her man's in jail, Brian Jackson. And I mean, every day now for getting on 3 years, she's dealing with it, man. And she's doing the phone calls. She knows a lot of the guys in there, gets like the inside scoop on a lot of stuff. And she's saying that, yeah, anything they can use to convict you or stack time on your sentence is what they do. They just do it. Okay, then we had something really cool happen. We got this guy, Vitaly Goschenkowski, is in there. He just got into the prison about, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks ago. And Vitaly's deaf. He can't hear. And we were making a stink about the fact that he can't hear. So the American Disabilities Act says that the prison is supposed to accommodate for that, all right? But he didn't have any type of a teletyper machine or anything like that. So what we did last night, one of the J6ers, and I don't know who it wasn't Chris Quaglin, and I don't think it was Taylor, but it was read by somebody. And Vitaly wrote some stuff down to communicate to the Freedom Corner about who he is and where he come from, and just some basic information, basically an introduction to Vitaly, because he's been in there for so long. We've not been able to talk to him because, you know, that's impossible. So he wrote down a page and a half of stuff. This guy read it off for us, and it was really cool. And here's what we found out about Vitaly, man. Dude was born in Russia. His family does not support what he did with J6, so they're not supporting his decisions to go to the Capitol on January 6th. He is an American citizen. He lives in, he votes out of Florida, but he's been moving from, he lived in DC, I think he said, for a while. And then Vitaly says he knew that there were going to be undercover feds at J6. And he actually went there a day or two or three early to check it out. So we don't know what Vitaly's knows yet, all right? And I'm thinking this dude knows some things because he was out there January 5th checking stuff out. And I know he had to see things, man. There's no doubt about it. I know how DC works too because I've been hanging out down there for a long time. And you can tell when something's up the night before. Things happen at 2 o'clock in the morning out in the middle of some spot, you know, and all of a sudden they're setting something up for tomorrow. And you don't know what it is, but you can go down there and ask the workers, hey, what's up? You know, and chum it up with them and find out what's going on down there. So Vitaly was there on January 4th and 5th that I know of, and was scoping things out because he says he knew there were going to be feds at J6, man. He said the food sucks in the prison. All right, that's not a news flash, but verified. One more source verifies that. And then that Vitaly chose to be in the pod, and he could have had American Disabilities Act accommodations. He could have had like a teletyper phone system and things like that. But in order to get those things, he would have had to go into the medical pod of the jail there. They have a special spot where you can, I guess, you know, and he could have got hearing aids, but he had to go to that pod to have hearing aids, okay? So Tammy goes, well, what good would it be to have hearing aids if you're in the pod where you're in solitary confinement all the time? Which is logic, but to the jail staff, it's I guess it's right over their head. They don't know. They have no idea. So Vitaly could have had hearing aids. He could have had a teletyper phone communication, but he chose to be in the pod with the other J6ers because that's where his patriot buds are. That's where his comrades are. That's where a certain level of protection for you against people that were in the jail that were not, you know, like the Biden people in there. I mean, these are the people that would attack you. So if they group people to try to keep those types of confrontations from happening in the jail. And Vitaly just chose to be there and not have hearing aids and not have the teletyper thing. But we're figuring out how to communicate with Vitaly now. And a couple other J6ers are helping him out. So my guess is we should come up with some questions to try to submit via email. We can communicate with Vitaly by email, and then have him. We can read off what his responses are at Freedom Corner. I think that would be great. So I thought that was super cool. The J6ers got that organized and did it, and yeah, I just thought that was awesome, man. Okay, our broadcast is still going good. I got signal in the middle of this canyon here. All right, let's go this way. Okay, then I know Brian called up next, and Brian Jackson, but then somebody else got on the phone. I think it was Dempsey, but anyways, they were talking about the Epic Times. Don't read the New York Times. Don't read the Washington Post. If you're going to pay to get a newspaper, pay the extra money, get the Epic Times. He says this newspaper is awesome. I've read it sometimes. I can't afford it though. But anytime I get a chance to read an Epic Times article, it's worth it. And he said, or he read a kind of funny Christmas poem in there that was about, I don't know, it was like the night before Christmas poem, but it was all about Trump and fraud elections and all that. And it was pretty cool, man. And then he told us, I think this was David Dempsey, but I'm not sure. Told us he had a dream. All right, so this is the first time any J6er went, hey man, I had a dream last night. Let me tell you about it. Says he had a dream that he ran against Pencilneck in an election. You know who Pencilneck is, right? And beat him. And then it was a whole story, but it was just funny hearing a dude's dream, and that he ran against Pencilneck. And I just like calling Schiff Pencilneck. And then Nicole got up and said, hey, speaking of poems, apparently Jack Smith is trying to accelerate the rate at which the Trump trial in D.C. is happening. And he just put some requests in that are, you know, above and beyond what the lawyers would be capable of, unless they work full time from now until March or whatever. And what it would do, they would have to work through Christmas, they would have to work through New Year's, there would be no holiday for these lawyers on Trump's team in order to facilitate the demands that Jack Smith was putting on this case. So they wrote a request in to the court saying that Jack Smith is like the Grinch, man. He's going to steal Christmas from all of us attorneys. So they tried to put a little bit of levity in there for the judge, and I don't know how the judge ruled on that, but Nicole had the scoop on it, and it was funny. It was in Gateway Pundit also had a little article about that too. Okay, then so what we found out about this 1512 thing was that so Jake Lang had a case going on, you know, heading towards the Supreme Court. And he was under the impression that his case was going to be heard from the Supreme Court. But what happened is Jake Lang's case got relisted. So that means that they were going to overlook it, and they were going to relist it for a future date is what I'm thinking. I'm still sorting all this stuff out too. And this was what some of the contention was within the jail about Jake Lang. And he was raising money claiming that he had his case in the Supreme Court. So he was either mistaken or not, you know, and we don't know this yet. We don't know things yet. And I don't want to get all on one side or another, but this is what's going on. Jake Lang's case is relisted, and I guess that's a legal term in the Supreme Court. But Joseph Fisher's case is to be heard in the next few days by the Supreme Court, and it's the same thing. It's on the subject of the 1512 qualification as to how it was applied to the J6ers in their trials. It questions that. And what they were talking about on the phone was that, and this was Jeff Sable's phone call at the end of the night with the vigil and stuff, was that this is freakishly spontaneous for the Supreme Court. I mean, the Supreme Court, when was the last time that somebody submits something and they go, yeah, we're going to listen to that one within a week or two or three? I don't remember it happening, but it's happening. It's happening now. So we got Joseph Fisher's case the Supreme Court agreed to hear in the next couple of days. We got Jake Lang's case on relisted, so it's not tossed out yet. It's just kind of on the back burner at the Supreme Court right now. We got Trump going in there challenging the 1512 thing because that's what they're trying to charge Trump with. And then there's another one. Frank Guastino. Frank Guastino's got an angle, and he's been talking about this. He touched on it every time he calls in the corner about the validity of the oath that the judges take in the Supreme Court. And he's found something. He has definitely found something. He is representing himself pro se, and apparently there's some way to put a request in pro se with the Supreme Court, and apparently it wasn't just disqualified now. So we got some information on this case in case you want to look it up, because this is all new information, man. It was breaking news last night at Freedom Corner, man. The judicial oath of office was changed. There's a verbal and a written oath of office that these judges are supposed to take. And that was dictated by Congress when they set up the government in D.C. to take over the rule of the city of D.C. Congress is supposed to be in charge of all this. And they kind of absconded that duty, but they set up a bunch of rules. Here's how we do it. Every judge in D.C. at a federal court is supposed to take a written oath and a verbal oath. Turns out there's no written oath on record for all of these judges, or just the one that Frank Gustino was supposed to be seeing. But they don't exist. There's no written oath. And that was the demand that Congress made of these judges, that they must have a written oath. So Frank's onto something here, Patriots. Definitely onto something. So he entered this Supreme Court case pro se yesterday, or 2 days ago now. It was yesterday, last night. Here's the case number, if you want to look it up. And a couple of Patriots already, before David ended his stream, there were people looking it up already. This is case number 23-CR-16. And he also qualified it with this. It's document 36, 39, and 59. And the case is called USA versus Frank Gustino. If you want to look any of that stuff up, I'll repeat it. Case number 23-CR-16. Document 36, 39, and 59. And I think I entered that in the chat on David's stream after Freedom Corner ended. I typed it in there for a record of it, and that was verified. So let's get on this, Patriots. I mean, I don't know who. So he's got the link already. You're golden. You are golden. Frank Gustino J6 case link. Right there it is. Okay. I think this is exciting. And every time he started talking about this thing over the past couple of weeks, I was digging it, man. So that was it on Freedom Corner. It was just such an exciting night at Freedom Corner. It took me 53 minutes to get through all that. So a lot of news too. I haven't done a podcast in 3 days. A lot of news going on right now. But this old bar I used to hang out at is right up here. I want to see if they're still in business. The Lancaster Dispensing Company. Had some good times in this place. This is one of them little bars, and they would get a band in there. It only holds like 70 people, 80 people. Yeah, they're still rocking it, man. Good to see, man. They had a beautiful wood bar. Oh, man. I have to show that to you, but there's people in there. I don't want to cringe on people in there drinking, so. But yeah, just know that this is a really cool bar. The Lancaster Dispensing Company. If you ever get a chance and you're in Lancaster, hit this place up, man. It's really nice. Really great spot. So, I don't know. Do you want to get into some news here? We got Silly digging up links for you. We got all kinds of stuff going on. We are the news now, man. Support your local streamers, man. The people you are getting your information from, make sure you get something to them. Cut your cable bill because they're worthless right now. You're supporting the enemy if you're giving their money to a cable company and Disney and Netflix and all that. Yeah, it is nice to watch a movie every once in a while, but really, think about it. It's not that cool. You're experiencing murders, homosexuality, drug use. in a movie. It becomes part of your brain. It's a memory now because you just watched a movie. You got a memory of the movie. So you might as well just go do it yourself because you're going to have the same effect on your brain as watching people get murdered on a movie. It's not as innocent as you think it is, okay? Have fun with that, trolls. Have fun with that. These trolls will take anything you say and just totally rip it around. And it's out there. I just noticed that a couple people that are in the interweb somewhere that'll take my videos and just rip on me. But hey, who cares, man? You guys are trolls. You're miserable. You're watching my videos so that you can hate on me, so that you can get yourself all worked up. And I don't know how that makes you feel better, but have at it, man. Last night, Trump speech. All right, I don't know where to start with the news, but let's just start with the Trump speech, man. Trump was speaking in Coralville, Iowa at a caucus event, a Get Out the Caucus event. And it was a really good speech, man. He was speaking to a small crowd, a small room, basically. And let's see if we can do this. It was only a room full of about, I don't know, 150, 200 people or something like that. In Iowa, they're getting ready to vote in the primary election there and determine who wins the Republican nomination in Iowa right now. Iowa is the first state to settle all that stuff ever, traditionally. And it was a really good speech because the room was small. There wasn't a lot of crowd interference. And he's kind of changing his I don't know if he's changing how he speaks or what, but this was a different style for Trump, man. And it was interesting to watch it. This was, if you want to see you don't want to see a 2-hour Trump speech, this one was 1 hour and 15 minutes long. He was very concise with how he was speaking. Every single thing he said was like a nutshell, you know. Everything was a one-liner, and it was kind of different from how he normally presents his thing. He didn't ramble on telling stories as much. He did a couple times, and he was funny as hell a couple times. But basically, the message is Joe Biden's got no chance because he just opened up the Pandora's box with charging Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro and and Giuliani and going after Trump himself. That is a Pandora's box. It was not opened up until FJB took office and decided to do it. You know, it's going to come back and bite him. And there are now that many more options available to Trump when he wins the election again. And you should definitely go watch that speech. If you don't watch Trump speeches, this is one to see. I would say it was good. It was brief, shorter than the normal ones he does. But basically, he said, we're running on fumes here in America, man. We don't got a lot of steam left. If we don't win this election, that's it. It's done. This is the most important election ever in this country, basically. Look at the weaponization of the government. Look at the border being wide open. Look at World War III happening over here. It's going on. It's going on. It is game on. And if we don't win it this time, we're going to have a lot more trouble, and it's going to be a lot harder to fight against that in the condition this country's going to be. So I got news. All right, let me just quick go over it, man. I saw Tom Homan. He used to be the border guy, the border police guy for Trump, and he gets on and he goes, I wake up every morning pissed off. And he just had this tirade, man. It was hilarious. I can't remember where I seen it, but I wake up every morning pissed off a lot too, you know. But then I just think about it, and it's like, all right, God just gave me a good sleep, man. Thank you, Lord. And then I get up, and it's like, oh, I got coffee, you know. And then thank God for coffee, you know. And I even thank God for cigarettes, because I really like cigarettes. So coffee and a smoke in the morning, I hope we can do that in heaven. But that's a whole nother debate. I don't want to split us all up on that. But I'm praising God when I got coffee and a cigarette and I had a good night's sleep, There's this thing about cyber attacks from going on our infrastructure. And apparently Rumble went through a major cyber attack within the last couple of days. They're saying like water systems and electrical systems in America are under unprecedented cyber attacks from China. And they think that these are Chinese people in the United States that are doing this stuff. So that's another thing on top of everything else that's going on right now. So what they're doing is they're testing the waters. How are they going to shut off all your electricity? How can they attack us that way? And they're working on it. They're getting steps closer and closer to that now. Border invasion, of course, is ongoing, continued, ramping up, accelerating. It's not getting any slower. It's getting worse and worse. And let's get this shot in the background here. Go. All right, now I gotta clue you in, man. Tucker Carlson has a Rumble channel now. He just started it up yesterday. Get in and subscribe to Tucker Carlson's Rumble channel. Now you don't got to be on Twitter, which I'm never going to be on Twitter. I got to draw the line somewhere. And as soon as I can get off of this phone when this is all over, I'm done with it, okay? But Tucker's got a Rumble channel now. He's got a lot of current interviews, and on it, he interviewed Owen Schroyer, the kid from InfoWars, who just spent 47 days in jail for being at the Capitol on J6, didn't even go into the Capitol or anything. Oh, okay, here's a great link to a movie. I'll put that up while I'm talking here, Sully. Thank you. Owen Schroyer was talking about how the BOP wants $2 billion because they're having trouble housing, prisoners and stuff. Owen Schroyer goes, no, the BOP's got to reduce their prison population by $2 billion is what they got to do. They're just making it look like they need more money. The weaponized justice system is jacking up the numbers in the prison. And that's why this is happening. Don't give them more money. He said, Owen Schroyer said, we have a prison industrial complex problem in this country. No doubt about it. It's been going on for a long time, sleepy Americans, but now's the time to take care of it. J6 has shed light on this. More and more stories, not even J6 related, are just bringing more and more light to this. And then Owen was talking about how these shifty FBI and people deal with you, man. When they started questioning Owen at first about the what he was doing at J6 and all that, Owen was a reporter, so he's part of the he's part of the news, and he didn't get any slack about that. We got a special group of rules on journalists and stuff, but they didn't give him any slack. Owen thought, all right, I'm allowed to be here. It's the law, there's no doubt in my mind. I got a First Amendment right, and I'm a journalist, so I got rights to cover this so that everybody can find out what happened here, right? Owen gave his phones in good faith to the FBI, and in exchange for no jail time was the agreement when he gave all that stuff to him. And just like the people they are, they forgot about their promise. They broke their oath. They reneged on their contract. They stabbed them in the back. That's who we're dealing with here, people. FBI. He gave his phones in good faith for no jail time, and they gave him jail time. Do not negotiate with police. Do not negotiate with law enforcement if you are questioned on anything. Do not give them any information, because all they're doing is fishing for information while they investigate you. Do not help them with their investigation of yourself, period. I don't know how many times people have told you that. don't know how many times people told me that. And I mess that up every once in a while. All right, what else we got here? The FISA renewal bill. People were getting on Mike Johnson's case about this FISA renewal bill. And he put it up to get brought to the Senate. And it has just been pulled from consideration, all right? So let's give Mike Johnson some slack here, people. I've been hearing Patriots getting on Mike Johnson. And the dude is playing a game just like Trump. Trump had to play a game. It ain't like you just go in and go, here's what I want, here's what I'm doing. You got to play a game, all right? So Mike Johnson just did a head fake like he was just going to scoot this FISA extension, so the deep state could continue to spy on Americans. Basically, that's what the FISA court was. They used the FISA court to spy on over almost 2 million people in America, American citizens, okay? And they lied. They presented false evidence. They fabricated evidence. And nobody's gone to jail for lying to the FISA court. Well, now, FISA was supposed to sundown, supposed to end, and it needs to be an extension for the FISA court to continue to exist. And it was looking like Johnson was going to facilitate that with some new rules on it. You know, he was going to try to close some of the abuses that they used the FISA court with making some more new rules in that. But turns out, nope, he just took it off. Not getting extended. Hopefully that's what happens here. This Tom Renz guy, the attorney that I've been talking about every once in a while here, he's been doing FOIA requests and all this about the COVID and its origination, where it originated from. And Tom Renz is saying now he's investigated the DOD, Department of Defense, and the CIA, and he says absolutely the CIA was involved with funding and creating COVID. This is one guy that probably knows more about everything about the COVID origin stories than anybody. And that's what he's telling us. Tom Renz, way to go, bud. Way to go. On the ball. We got Patriots on the ball, man. We got a weird thing happened in Iowa. What's going on with this satanic worship statue in the Capitol building in Iowa? In the heartland of America. There's a statue to Satan in it. What is going on there? How come people aren't doing anything about it? And apparently, I'm not sure, but they took down a statue of Thomas Jefferson. I don't know if that's the very spot where Thomas Jefferson was standing, and then they put up a Satan statue there with candles and all the commands of Satan that you're supposed to follow. Unbelievable, man. Here we are, because that's really what's going on. This isn't FJB. This is a spiritual battle between good and evil. And you got to get on the right side of that or you're doomed. The Philippine lawmakers had a vote 2 days ago to investigate 260,000 excess deaths in 2021. Now, where do you suppose that was from? And 67,000 excess deaths in 2022. And then, lo and behold, the next day, a 7.6 magnitude earthquake hits the Philippines. I've been hearing about this earthquake weapon they got, man. Is that what's going on here? Is that how good and evil fights? If you say I'm going to find out why, over almost 350,000 people died above the normal death rate in 2 years, they're going to throw an earthquake at you, all right? I don't know what to think of that. The next day that they voted on that, 7.6 magnitude earthquake. All right, man, we're making headway. We're making headway here. All right, I've been talking about all the secrets there is. The FBI holds all these secrets for us and stuff. That we're not allowed to know things, you know, which puzzles me because I'm the guy that runs this country. I'm the guy that votes for the people that run this country. How can I make an intelligent vote if I don't know things, okay? Why are they hiding information? Well, here's more secret information. The Presidential Records Act. I didn't know this, but according to the Presidential Records Act, after a president has left office, his records are sealed for 5 years. So that means we still haven't seen the records from BO's reign. What was that for? Well, I know. I guess they'd be coming out now. But here's the other clincher. All those records are always stored in the presidential library, okay? So Ronald Reagan built a library out in California, you know, and then Barack, he's building one in Hawaii or Illinois somewhere. There was all kinds of scandal about that. Why, you know, it's going to cost $40 million, it's costing $70 million, whatever. It's costing way more than he said it would. Another money laundering scheme, no doubt. All his records are being put in there, and then you got to ask them to see his records for that. So more secrecy, people, more secrecy. That has no place in this government. We can't run this country with all these secrets. There's no excuse for it. It is easy to fool people, but it's harder to convince them that they have been fooled, okay? And that is the problem you get when you got all these secrets, man. You listen to the secrets, you understand why they're doing it, why it has to be a secret. Now we got to tell people why they shouldn't have had that secret, why they needed to know what that secret was in order to vote intelligently. A little tidbit of information, the J6 is the largest manhunt ever conducted by the FBI, man. And we do know, verified now, that there were 200 undercover agents on the Capitol grounds on January 6th, man. 200 of them, man. So they've only arrested 1,200 people now. So if you add that 200, because I'm sure they didn't arrest their agents, that makes 1,400. What's the percentage there? What's the percentage? Out of all the people that got violent there on January 6th, out of the million people, there was only 1,200 so far that got charges. 200 of them were undercover agents. I mean, that's one agent's got to influence 6 people, and boom, there's your riot right there. It's plain as day, but we're waiting for the rest of the world to wake up to it. The rest of America to wake up, not only wake up to it, but to do something about it, man. Yeah, where's the cameras? Another secret they got DNA evidence off that cocaine that they found in the White House. Now, why in the world don't we know whose DNA is on that, man? Are you allowed to have cocaine in the White House? I don't think it's legal. No, it's not. You can't go to the store and buy cocaine in D.C. You can buy mushrooms, you can buy weed, but you can't go in and buy cocaine yet, you know? So, and there's DNA on it. They got DNA off the coke sample that they found in the White House. We the people got to know if we are about to vote for whoever's cocaine that is, okay? We got to know that. We got to know that. Let's see, I'm almost there. Hunter. How could I forget Hunter? Okay, it was his big day in the news yesterday. He got subpoenaed to go testify to a closed-door session of the committee that wanted to ask him questions, okay? Hunter shows up, stands outside the Capitol, holds a press conference, and tells everybody why he's not going to go into that, and lays out his terms. If they want to ask me questions, here's how I want it done. And I'll tell you right now, Hunter, that ain't how it's done. You listen, if you get a subpoena to go testify in front of Congress, you go testify in front of Congress. If they want a public forum or if they want a closed door meeting, you do a closed door. When they were doing this to Trump, they interrogate, or they questioned Trump's children, man. Don Jr. went in and endured 9 hours of closed-door questioning from Pencil Neck. Eric Trump did 6 hours of closed-door questioning. They didn't go in there and say, hey, man, my dad used to be the president. Oh, I don't have to do that. Here's the arrogance, the audacity of Hunter Biden is unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Oh, and by the way, Tucker Carlson has tuckercarlson.com also. I have not looked that up yet, but I just found that out yesterday. So definitely, man, go subscribe to Tucker Carlson on Rumble. If you're not on Rumble, if you're just doing YouTube, Rumble's the future. Okay, Rumble is not censored near as much. They are having growing problems, and there's some cool things about YouTube that Rumble doesn't have yet, but Rumble is improving things. In fact, David and Stormtrooper said Rumble's coming out with some type of a new format that's supposed to be really good, and Tucker just signed up on Rumble. I mean, that right there, that put me over the edge. So, there's that, man. We got to get our news. We're finding our news sources now, all right? We had Elon Musk come and take over Twitter. We had, and freed up the free speech on Twitter. He got all the people back on. Alex Jones is back on there. And now we got Tucker, finally got kicked out of Fox, thank God. Look what he's been getting into now. Dude is interviewing people left and right who are significant, whose opinion matters, whose opinions we have to hear right now. And he's on fire, man. I mean, he has interviewed all the relevant people around J6 so far. And there's more to come. There's more to come. And last but not least, we now have a West Virginia candidate who's running for governor. The current, I believe, Secretary of State, and I don't know what his name is yet, but comes right out and says the CIA stole the 2020 election. It's out there, Patriots. It's out there. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord it's out there, because I was having trouble enduring this putrid mess that this country is in right now. But thank God, things are busting loose. I see it happening. It's in the realm of possibility that we are going to have a blissful 250th anniversary in this country. Donald Trump last night said we're going to rebuild Washington. We're going to sterilize it and rebuild it. We're going to rebuild the country. We have already given Ukraine more money than it would take to rebuild all the federal highways in America. And we just gave all that money to Ukraine to fight a war that we know that they can't handle, that they know that they weren't going to win. So we just funded the massacre of all those Ukrainian soldiers who were told that they could win this battle against Putin. And all the while, either we resisted getting involved with it because that won't happen to American soldiers, because we're not going to let that happen. They are not sending American soldiers over to Ukraine. They're trying to do that now over in the Middle East. They got them there. They're on boats waiting to jump in. We don't let them do it, America. This is what they're trying to do, man. CIA screwed the election up. The CIA created COVID. There it is. There it is, YouTube. Do what you want with it. All right, Patriots. Probably dug myself a big enough hole with YouTube. If I'm on tomorrow, I'll be amazed. It'll be a miracle of God. I love you guys. We'll see you in the chat at Freedom Corner tonight. Vigil number 501 coming up. God bless you, Patriots. This is Jericho. Over and out.